Welcome to the latest episode of the Catalyst Health and Wellness Coaching Podcast. My name is Brad Cooper, and I'll be your host. And today's episode is going to be a live coaching session. We have the permission of the person being coached as well as the coach. This is the third time that we will have done this, and we keep hearing from you that you love these things. And I don't know if you just like hearing how other people are working through things that they're struggling with in terms of health and wellness, or if it's the coaches that are wanting to hear how another coach approaches things, or maybe you've never heard an actual coaching session and you're just intrigued by how this whole process works and what happens in a period of literally 20 minutes. But for whatever reason, you love these. And so we're going to keep bringing them back. And today we have Tammy coaching Susan. It's really an interesting session. I think you're going to enjoy it. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at results@catalystcoachinginstitute.com. If you're thinking about coming to the Fast Track weekend, either in New Jersey, August 16th and 17th, or Colorado on the following weekend, August 24th and 25th, get those registrations in quickly. We actually maxed out the last one. If you're looking at doing that, don't wait on that. You can go to catalystcoachinginstitute.com. All the details are there, and we're certainly happy to chat anytime you'd like. With that, let's move on with the latest episode of the Catalyst Health and Wellness Coaching Podcast.
Hi, Susan. Just wanted to see, thank you, first of all, for just coming in, and just wanted to see what you would like to focus on for today.
Thank you, Tammy. Really right now, I am overwhelmed. There's a lot going on, and I feel like my head is spinning a lot of the time, and I can't really hunker down on one thing or for a long period of time.
So you're feeling burdened and just kind of like you're in a whirlwind?
Yes, absolutely. There's just a lot going on. I mean, I'm 47. I have 3 girls that are 2 are teenagers, 1's 11. But then I'm sandwiched between that and then my precious mom and dad and my in-laws who are, their health is failing them. And they're on the other side of the country.
They are, okay.
And it's just a lot. And then also working and taking care of everyone. And, it's hard.
Yes. So are you feeling pressure to be near your family?
That is a very, yes, I am. And I can't. That's the frustrating piece is that, we moved out here 14 years ago to Colorado. And now that, my parents, my husband's parents, and then my aunt and uncle, they're getting older. And the caregiving I have to do from out here.
Right.
Which I do. But sometimes it would be nice just to be there more often and be able to put my hands on them and, be able to help more.
Yes. So with all of that, so with your family that health is failing, and your family now, your kids, your husband, where do you kind of find space for your own self?
Well, I play tennis, which is good. I tried journaling for a little while. So I haven't really found recently the space. I mean, I have space for sure, but it's what it is that I want to put in that space.
Yeah.
That is most beneficial, that helps me to grow and not even grow, just to be peaceful. I am very spiritual. And maybe I'm not devoting enough time to that. I don't know where it is, because I feel like I'm always moving.
Yes. When you kind of reflect back on maybe a season where this is a time where I felt energized, this is a time where I felt fed, and where I felt like, not necessarily that I had time for everything, but I felt like I had some claim on time. Do you recall anything that sticks out to you that you were doing in that season?
I can't think of a season recently that was like that.
Yeah.
Before children,
Yeah.
I was a teacher, and that was very fulfilling. Then, when my children were young, I think it was very fulfilling because you could physically fix things and, do things to take care of them. It looked very different than it does now. And maybe that, piece that time period was nice. But lately it's been kind of chaotic.
Yeah, well, and your kids are in a new season. So you, like you said, at that time you were kind of the fixer, and you were somebody that was a caretaker, and they needed you and they depended on you, right? And so you have these teenagers that are growing into some independency where they don't need as much of that. And so you truly have to kind of let go and step back. Do you feel like that's difficult for you to let that go? Is that what you're mourning a little bit?
Actually, yes. That's exactly what's happening. Now that you say that, I think I do have more time and more space, and I don't know what to do with myself. I mean, I'm there to help guide them, but part of being a teenager is to figure it out on their own.
Yes.
And to let them make the mistakes now. So yeah, now that you say that, maybe that's what's going on, is I'm just like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't have things to do. I mean, I work and things like that, but it's almost like I need more, purpose.
Yeah. That's good.
Because I have a lot to give and I love giving. I just feel like I need more to give. Which is such a paradox, because I was talking about with caregiving, but now I'm here. I can't physically caregive for my parents. So, yeah.
So yeah, that's an interesting place to be, of kind of going, okay, what do I do with this new season? It sounds like that's where you are, of, okay, my purpose as a mom even is changing. My purpose as a daughter and relative of these family members is a little different. And so how do I, weave that? And sometimes, I think that we, as moms especially, we kind of like, it's hard for us to know, well, what is my role kind of move into? If I'm not caretaking them, what am I doing? And so maybe that's some of that. Do you feel like that that purpose? Does anything come to mind as far as just direction, and even maybe learning what that direction is, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Something that has been on the top of my mind and I've been talking about for a while is going back to get my counseling degree. But I go back and forth. Like on one hand, I'm like, if I do that, will I not have enough time to take care of my family? That kind of goes in the back of my mind. But to your point, you said just a few minutes ago, they don't really need me as much as they used to. And they're pretty self-sufficient. I mean, my 11-year-old needs me more, but my husband works from home, and that's been a change too. Back in May, he started working from home, and so that looks very different from when he used to travel, and he would be gone from 8 to 6 every day. That's been a change too. And so it has freed up even more time for me.
Yes.
Because he's helping with the children, and he's available. So a lot of things have changed.
Yes.
And maybe that's kind of interesting that I just realized that a lot of things have changed. And when maybe a year ago, I looked at the counseling and I was like, absolutely not, I can't, because there was too much going on. Now seems like it's something that I could do and I'm getting closer to. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I feel like that's something you're excited about. And really, these changes are exciting. I mean, this is good transition. And especially when you feel good about your daughters, your older daughters you feel good about them doing things on their own. It's not that you need to hover over them. You feel good about that. Your husband's at home now. So that's also comforting. That's also such a good thing. And so it sounds like there's things that are kind of in place for you. Do you feel that way?
With my spirituality, I keep asking, God, please tell me when, where, I'm waiting. And you're right. Like, I just need to step back and say, he's telling me. Yeah. I just need to trust him. And it may not be perfect and it may not go exactly as I think it should, but it might be time to trust that he has lined things up. Yeah. So that I can do this and I can give back. I think that's a big piece.
So if you were to do the counseling degree, if that's something you thought, I'm going to do that, what do you see what joy or what good things do you see coming from a situation or a decision like that?
A focused learning. And then being able to give back. Just our family has had a lot of challenges, as all families do. And we've worked with a lot of counselors ourselves. And I just think it's necessary right now. I feel a calling to be there for other people in that way. So yeah, I think, so you asked what good will come from that. Getting closer to having that purpose and being able to give back and in that way.
Yeah. So it's not only using your skills, it's also, this is for the good of other people. This is what's happened in my own life. I want to return that.
Yes. And I've experienced a lot of things that I feel like I have some perspective on that I could share.
That's amazing.
And walk with them like we do, with the coaching. It's the same type of thing, but with a little bit more, they would be challenged in different ways.
Yes, that's good. Any obstacles that you see if you were to decide, yes, I'm doing this, what would be the challenges for that?
Time and finances.
Okay.
Yes. And those are the things I'm looking into right now, actually.
Good.
Trying to be inspired by many others who make things work.
Yes.
And I know it can work. I just have to, trust.
Yes. Yes. And we can always make those excuses, right? It's like those pop up before, sometimes way before the positive things do. And they can kind of crowd out some of those positive thoughts as well. So I guess when you kind of think about what we're talking about today, what do you feel like, okay, I need to make a decision about the counseling? Or do you feel like, no, I really kind of it needs to be something else that I need to fill myself with?
I think that's a really good question. I think I should move forward with applying.
Okay.
However, I still think short term, like that's more of a long term goal. Short term, I still need to figure out how to create more peace. And maybe it is just to, I don't know. I don't know how to create more peace, honestly. I'm trying.
Yeah.
But I think short term, there's got to be something, I need to work on something else.
Okay.
I love reading. I read a ton. Yes.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're kind of feeling that you almost need to establish some peace and contentment before moving on to this degree.
Yes.
Okay. And so what is the first step with that? Is it finding something that that will feed you, or is it, it sounds like you're not really sure how to create that peace. What can I offer to help you?
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. It's I wish I knew. That's the troubling part.
Yeah. Can I offer just a suggestion?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Any suggestions you want to give me, I am happy to hear.
Well, let me ask you this before I offer that. Do you already kind of have a quiet time like that's set in the day?
No.
Okay.
And to your point, maybe I need more structure.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes, maybe that's a piece of what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, what I was going to offer was just morning structure. Like say, but whenever you get up, 7 a.m., whatever that is, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. is going to be structured. And let's not worry about the rest of the day. I know that you have a job and probably the rest of the day is set anyway, but whatever time frame you want to make that. And so you decide, I'm going to write in 7 to 8 a.m., create peace, and that's all I'm going to write on that. And then you kind of reflect each morning during that time, what do I need during this time? What is going to bring me peace? And then the rest of the time is structured with whatever you want, tea and reading or whatever it is, but just a time frame for creating peace. And since you don't know what that is and I don't know what that is, I think that when you enter that time each morning, it's going to start to come to you. What are your thoughts about that?
I love that.
Okay.
It reminds me of the Bible verse that I've had people give me a necklace. My daughter has it. It's be still and know that I am God.
Yes.
And
so
that's a challenge for me.
Yeah.
And maybe most of us. So maybe that's what I do is make sure that Bible verse is ingrained. But then I love that, create peace. Mm-hmm. And it could be in the morning, but I also could do it at night.
That's right.
And it's my time, and I let my family know I'm creating peace now.
Whatever that means.
Exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I love that.
Okay. So do you picture yourself in the evening more so than in the morning?
No.
Okay.
No, I see both times opportunities.
Okay.
To do so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and tell me, so if you decide that is what you would like to do, what is your accountability? Like, is it your phone? What do you use? What tools do you use for those kinds of things?
My calendar.
Okay.
I mean, it would be where I need to, the night before, look at my calendar and say, okay, this is a good time. Or it could be I try mornings for a little while.
Uh-huh.
Middle of the day is also a good time for me.
Okay.
Like after lunch is a good time. And then, maybe it would be morning or middle of the day, depending on my work schedule.
Right. Okay.
That is good just to have that time to create peace.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so if we were to kind of say, here's the goals, here's the focus, it sounds like it is nightly, look at the calendar and write in, or is it weekly, write that in all through the week? I think
it'd be weekly.
Weekly.
Because that's pretty much how I do my calendar.
Okay.
It would be weekly for sure.
Okay. Okay, so weekly, write in, create peace in a time frame slot that you want. And then, the other focus, I guess, would truly be just to let yourself be during those times. And just to kind of let yourself kind of realize what it is that is going to, maybe it is just being quiet. Maybe that's all you need, but maybe something will come to you as well, perhaps.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's wonderful. Just space. And I think you used that earlier today. I just need space.
Yeah. Okay. I love it.
Me too. Just to process.
Yes. To process, reflect. Okay. Love it. Anything else that you would say would be a good focus with this?
No focus.
No.
I mean, I think you
Yeah.
you know, the space piece. I think that's what I'm coming to realize is that my brain is always going.
Yes.
I mean, even at 3 a.m. in the morning, right? It's always moving and going and thinking and processing. And I think I just need some downtime.
Okay. That sounds wonderful. All right. Well, we'll check in on these things and I'll see how it's going in a few weeks.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yes. Thank you so much, Tammy.
Yes. Thank you, Susan.
All right, everyone, it's Brad. I just popped my head in here. We are now going to go back to these two, and they're going to share their thoughts about how to go. So some reflection on the part of the coach and some reflection on the part of the client. Back to Tammy and Susan.
I felt like that went really well. At the beginning, though, I was a little like, where this is wide open. So I'm like, oh boy, this could be hard to focus in on one thing.
Right. And it was, I mean, coming here today, I actually thought it would be a little bit more about stress, which it kind of was, but it was really neat how it unfolded and the questions that you asked, but then your reflections. Those were what helped me to kind of figure out exactly where I am.
Yeah. It's funny because I felt like, we can always relate to things, and sometimes I get real excited about putting my own input in. And I was like, oh, I hope I'm not doing too much of that, of my own, like, I think and I believe that. So anyway, I was hoping that reflections were coming through and not just, here's what I think. So.
Yeah, I mean, you did such a beautiful job.
Thanks.
With your reflections, they were dead on. And they weren't simple because being a coach, they weren't simple. They were, you dug a little bit deeper and you were right on, which is what led me to be able to figure out, okay, I just need this space. Because, it's always going from one thing to the next and worrying about a bajillion different people. And sometimes, you can't see, what is it? The forest for the trees or whatever that saying is, because there's just too much going on.
Yes. There's that other perspective that kind of clears the way, right? It's like kind of clears those trees out of the way so that you can see a little bit better. So I'm glad that helped with that. And I think we have, and I think with coaching, it's so apparent that we have so much going on. And it's like, if we can just zoom into what we actually need, it's like, that's where wellness is kind of comes from, right? It's like, well, we're taking care of everybody else, but it's like, what do I need for my own wellness? And sometimes we feel selfish about that, but it's so great to kind of bring clients to a place of, this is vital for you so that you can do all these other things beautifully and well.
Absolutely. Because what happens is, what's happened to me is, just through that is thinking, my sleep has been affected.
Yes.
And that's a physical piece. I have to be careful about exercise because that can also not allow space because it's so focused and it's moving.
Yes.
And, and that doesn't allow space for me. Everyone is different. So I think that was another something that I was able to sift through.
Yes.
Is that I need quiet, whatever that is. And and know if I can shut my brain down long enough just to, like you said, I like the word reflect myself on, okay, what do I need?
Yes.
Right. And we talk to our clients about that all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's hard to do.
Right. And I know that, in this, it was like, okay, I was kind of racking my brain at one point going, okay, what does she need more tennis? Does she need, I was kind of going through like what you had mentioned that you love, you love to read. And so then I was like, I don't really have the answer. So I felt like I knew that you didn't have the answer because you said that yourself. And so I felt like you needed to make that clear to yourself in your own practice of sitting and listening or whatever, having that space. And so I appreciated that I couldn't give you the answer. Honestly, I couldn't offer you much to say, well, here's what I think you need to be doing. Not that we do that as coaches necessarily, but I wanted to so much. It's like I wanted since you didn't know, I was like, well, I want to know what the answer is, but I really didn't.
Wow, Tammy, that's huge. Because, where I am now, you really listened to where I am now. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? If we had gone through a list of things to do, it would have been something that I would have taken home and not done.
Yes.
Because
that's so true.
That's not what I need.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yes. And you really heard that. And you allowed me that space.
Yes.
To figure out where I need space.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge.
Because do you ever feel like we're in, sometimes we want to be fixers,
Yes.
we want to have the answer because, well, we live out wellness really well. So, so surely we have all the answers, but we don't,
We don't.
and everybody's so different and unique. And so it's like, what would work for me isn't going to work for you. And so I can't push that on you. So yes.
And you did such a beautiful job with that.
Well, thank you. And thanks for sharing all of that.
Well, it was really good. And now I'm looking forward to creating space.
Yes. I'm looking forward to hearing about it. Seriously.
Thanks again so much to Tammy and Susan for not just taking the time to do this, but really opening themselves up. So I hope you enjoyed that. A couple of comments I thought might be helpful. One of my favorite parts of this is these are two nationally board certified health and wellness coaches, and they are working through their own journey. I think that's such an important reminder to all of us. None of us have it figured out, folks. We're all on this journey. And I think you heard that in a very intimate way in that discussion. I thought another interesting piece that came out is that conversation had a lot of spiritual components to it. But every single one of them were driven by the client, not the coach. And that's a critical thing for us to remember. Tammy did a really good job throughout of not making assumptions. And you saw that kind of come back full circle. And then one other just super intriguing piece that I hope we all remember as coaches is recognizing that solid coaching can happen without needing to know every detail of the person's story. Tammy could have dug in and potentially made Susan very uncomfortable. She got enough, and then she knew Susan knew the details, and they were able to move forward from there. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful. And again, just another huge thank you to Tammy and Susan for taking the time to do that for us today. A couple of things that I don't think I've mentioned on the podcast in forever. There is a book list. So if you're looking for resources as a coach of things that you might want to dig into, just go to catalystcoachinginstitute.com and look under the resources. We've got a full list of those you can click through and find. There's also the Coaching CMBA. We have a lot of coaches. You're already certified, and you're trying to figure out, how do I grow my business? We've got a resource for that, so you can find that as well. And then for those of you who are on Twitter, you can find me at Catalyst, 2 Thrive. So Catalyst 2 Thrive. And essentially, I just use that as an outlet for research articles and updates and findings in some of the areas of health and wellness, mental toughness, human performance, those kinds of things. If you need anything at all from us, you can find us at results@catalystcoachinginstitute.com. The next Fast Track weekend is just around the corner. We're going to New Jersey and Colorado in August, so take a peek at those if either one of those are an interest to you. Let's keep pursuing better and help those around us do the same. I'll talk with you soon on the next episode of the Catalyst Health and Wellness Coaching Podcast.